Hey, good weekend to you. Welcome to Leading Edge. I'm Jerry Anderson. Toledo's mayor is trumpeting it as the largest positive breakthrough for regionalism in, well, maybe ever. He sees it as the potential catalyst for more joint endeavors, or at least a new atmosphere of cooperation between Toledo and its suburban neighbors. Too strong? Well, first the burbs have to accept the Regional Water Commission deal. Will they? One of their leaders, a prominent longtime mayor, at my table ahead. But first, a follow-up to our recent discussion with State Senator Teresa Fetter about the Republican governor's call for at least some reforms when it comes to guns. This, of course, came in the wake of the Dayton slaughter. Yet Senator Fetter, a Democrat and supporter of many reforms, says any meaningful reforms have at best a 50-50 chance of passage. So we begin today on the other side of the aisle and over in the Ohio House with Republican Derek Merrin, District 47. I asked Representative Merrin, Mike DeWine's your party's standard bearer, will he get red flag laws, better background screening, anything in the wake of Dayton?
I don't think he's going to get what he proposed. I think there is, a movement to at least appear to try to address the issue. And I think that's the difference. Are we going to superficially try to address the issue, or are you going to look for, core changes within, gun laws? And I think fundamental or core changes that would infringe on the Second Amendment have a real uphill battle in the legislature.
Okay. So you're saying that what he has tried out, I want to make sure I'm following, are just, it's window dressing. You said appear to address the situation, not meaningful.
Well, they're bullet points on a piece of paper. You've got to get that onto legislation. And no, I don't think most of his proposals will have, a tangible impact on, preventing, mass violence.
Are there any gun restrictions that you could favor?
When you talk about red flag, you need to define you have to define what red flag is. Are we talking about people that have been actually convicted of a crime? Are we talking about people that have been accused of a crime? Or are we talking about someone who's, their neighbor says, well, I saw them yelling at their spouse, and I don't think they should have a gun. Those are completely three different levels. And, there's consensus in America that, hey, if you've been convicted of a violent crime, we don't want you to have a gun. If you're, certified and been examined by a doctor to be mentally ill, I think the majority of Americans say, we need to restrict their access. But if someone has not been convicted of a crime, you face constitutional questions and a lot of concerns of Ohioans of when do you just take someone's personal property away?
You have to wait for somebody to commit a crime? Okay, the kid in Dayton, I don't think he had a criminal record. But people say, oh yeah, that's the kid in high school who had kill lists. Oh, he had rape lists too. Yet he was legal to get a weapon. He hadn't committed a crime. So your barrier is must commit a crime, but to keep from having a weapon? Or aren't there some people out there where the red flag goes up and we shouldn't be giving them a gun?
Well, I think my previous comments is I'm making a distinction of that you have to define what red flag is. Yep. The young man in Dayton, I think we really need to examine our juvenile justice system and what is sealed and what is expunged. I don't know if that young man had a criminal record or not, but he obviously, he's been reported of having a kill list, a rape list. Was he convicted of a crime or accused of something in high school? If he was, as a 16 or 17-year-old man, you shouldn't have your record expunged. You don't just automatically turn 18 and be like, oh, that never happened again. Someone like that is a threat. Everyone knew that kid was a threat. Okay, and it's people like that shouldn't be having guns. But the question is, we really need to look at our juvenile laws and say, these young people, just because they're young doesn't mean we can't hold them accountable. Okay,
so you just espoused expanded background checks. Because if we'd looked into his background and gotten those juvenile records, we might have known more about him, and that's a background check to keep them. So you are in favor of background checks?
Well, what I'm in favor of, we need to examine his criminal record. His criminal record should not be, in my opinion...
It's part of his background. Anybody's criminal record is part of their background, is that right?
Correct.
So it'll show up in a background check?
If he's convicted.
Okay.
And, Jerry, here's the issue with background checks.
Okay.
Criminals typically don't submit themselves to background check.
Right.
Okay, that's the problem. I mean, that's part of the issue. So, we can have a background check. All the people that are legal or will, go through the process, the people that we don't want to have a gun won't go through the process, and it's pretty easy for them to get guns through other means. So, simply saying, oh, we're going to have a background check doesn't exactly keep the guns away from the people who we want the guns away from.
Okay, we understand that people with big, long record aren't going to line up in that line for the background check. But you know what, just it's one of those ways to just filter, won't we catch some people? Does it hurt anything to have background checks?
Well, we do.
Do we have enough? We need more, if I heard you right in this guy with Dayton. We need access to juvenile records. We need access to reports of what they've done in school. That's
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think these people have had multiple issues and run-ins with law enforcement, and that should be enough in many cases.
Senator Fetter sat right in your chair a couple weeks ago and says the NRA has sway over your party in Columbus. What have they told you, Derek, about where to stand on this issue?
Nothing. You know, that's a fallacy. You know, the NRA doesn't control me and doesn't control anyone in the legislature. I mean,
do they talk to Larry Householder, your speaker? And they say, Larry, save me talking to 60 people. Larry, here's how you guys are going to vote.
No. I'm sure there's communication that goes on. I mean, I'm close to, the gun groups, but none of them tell me what to do. The reason it's going to be tough in the legislature is because there's a lot of people like me that strongly believe in the Second Amendment. I strongly believe in the right to bear arms and for people like you and me to have the right to protect ourselves.
It's in the Constitution, Derek.
Okay.
I mean,
So, I don't need an organization to say, hey, we need to stand up for Second Amendment rights. That's what I already believe. And that's what many people in the legislature believe. So it's not that you're fighting against some mysterious organization out here. It's you're fighting against people that are very principled and who in many ways represent their constituency. I represent many gun owners that are, absolutely opposed to infringing upon their right to bear arms.
Even the people, and we're going to have somebody from Columbus, Ohioans Against Gun Violence on the program coming up. We've been in communication with them. They say, of course people can have guns for sport, target shooting, hunting, absolutely. Self-defense, no doubt about it. But when do we need weapons of war in the household? The assault weapons. Mm-hmm. There should be no limit. You don't see any limits at all on the Second Amendment. In a society in which we're just 26 there and 9 there, and it just...
We live in a dangerous country. Yeah. Okay? It's dangerous. That's why people have guns. And, people say, well, why do you need a gun that fires quickly? Well, there's burglaries every day in America, and when there's 2 or 3 men coming through your front door, what do you want? To defend yourself and your family. You're gonna pick up a knife against 3 intruders. So the question is, I should have the ability to defend myself and my home. You should have the ability to defend yourself and your home. And I think we can agree that there's a lot of very bad characters that do not need guns and should have guns. And I'm not opposed to having those conversations to try to make our community safer that way.
There is so much besides guns to talk to this young man about. He is one of the up-and-comers in the Republican Party down there. Can you hang for a second if we take a break?
I'm good.
All right. Derek Merrin, Republican, House District 47. We're going to talk about some non-guns. Had to in the wake of Dayton, and with your party's governor out there saying he's going to trot this stuff out. Inside Boogie right here. We're back with more on Leading Edge. Back on Leading Edge, Derek Merrin, State Representative, Ohio House District 47, my guest. Another big issue recently, and Ohio voters may get the last word on this, we're not sure. But all Ohio electrical consumers are being charged to bail out First Energy Solutions nuclear plants while we ease up on previously approved mandates on renewable energy, solar and wind and the stuff we like down there in Bowling Green. Is that now, Derek, the new norm for Ohio? Your business fails, so spend millions on ad campaigns and political campaigns in hopes of both staying alive and recouping your millions then from Ohioans. Compliments of the Ohio legislature.
This bill has 2 points. One is being completely focused on, and that is what's considered the nuclear bailout, which is an 85-cent charge on residential bills every month. Mm-hmm. Removing the 2 energy mandates, which is the renewable energy mandates and then also the efficiency, is currently costing Northwest Ohio homeowners over $7 a month. Okay, so the reason I supported this bill is it's not a perfect bill. There's things that I don't like. There's things that I tried to change, and I was able to improve the bill. But I can add 85 cents a month to the people that I represent and reduce their costs by $7 a month by getting rid of these green energy mandates. So that was the...
green energy is where we're going. That's the
well,
future.
when it's efficient, it doesn't cost an extra $7 for everyone's bill. It will probably gain some more momentum.
But I'm just saying, is that the new normal? I asked Teresa Fetter when she sat here. Where's the fee now for all Ohioans Because I drive a Chevy Cruise, made in Ohio, Lordstown, Ohio, and you know what? We should be bailing out General Motors so they can retool that plant to bring in a new line of something that people do buy, because there are jobs over there too. I'm just saying, if we do it for First Energy Solutions, why don't we do it for everybody else?
It's not a good standard to do what we did. I'm saying there's two issues to the bill. I'm telling you why.
You don't like the standard?
I don't like the standard. I voted for the bill because it will ultimately save Ohioans money on their electric bill.
Well, I think you can also make a couple other arguments. Diversity of electrical generation. Are we putting all of our eggs in the natural gas basket? There's one. And, you know, nuclear does, and it has for years, produced energy and done it without a carbon footprint. Correct. And we do have a whole bunch of people out there at Davis-Besse who rely on that for their income. So I think if anybody had a reason to back it, it'd be up in this neck of the woods. Are the same people who backed the bill, HB 6, are they the same ones with the slick TV ads now invoking China and urging people not to sign petitions?
I really don't know, Jerry, but probably.
I think they are.
I don't know.
Well, what they're saying is don't sign petitions. People sign the petitions. That'll at least put the question to the people. And then people can say yes or no. Should it go to the voters?
I mean, I don't necessarily want a referendum.
Okay. So you don't want it to. All right, I keep files on you people. TARTA's had its issues recently, and I think that's a fair statement. You took on the Transit Authority over its Jeans Days. Now, on the surface, sounds kind of like it could have been a fun team-building exercise. And didn't any money raised support TARTA-related issues? Tell me about Jeans Days.
Well, apparently they were saying you could wear jeans as long as you donated money to, I believe what they were saying is charity, and then they would take that money and divert it to Citizens for TARTA, which is a political action committee. So I don't think a lot of the employees didn't even realize they were donating, making political contributions, number one. And number two, you effectively had to, make a political donation or donation charity to, wear jeans. And, it's not a huge issue, Jerry, but you can't do that in government. I mean, you can't have an employer saying, well, if you donate to a pro-Trump PAC or a pro-Obama PAC, you can wear jeans. I mean, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, he's never worn jeans on my program. And he even wore a tie, and the host didn't today. Do you forgive me?
I forgive you.
Thank you. Derek Merrin. He was on Waterville City Council, I think, as a teenager, and became mayor at 21. Youngest mayor in the state of Ohio, correct?
That's true. They elect anyone these days.
They did it way back then. My thanks to State Representative Derek Merrin, Republican District 47, keeping us on the leading edge of happenings in Columbus that affect all of us right here. We'll be right back.